was originally not going to make 2 batches of croissants. It's Mother's Day, so I think I'm just going to have to do some deliveries of freshly baked croissants, and who is going to be opposed to that? Found some milk in my fridge, and there's a lot of it, so I'm just going to use some for this experiment. I tasted it. It's still fresh. I am gonna do a batch with whole milk, and then I'm gonna do another batch with some dry milk powder. I always find myself buying a whole bunch of milk from the grocery store. I don't drink milk typically. I'm lactose intolerant. The only time I would drink milk is to put it in my coffee, but then I prefer my coffee black. Milk is not being drunk in this house. It's mainly being used for baking. I'm gonna be testing a new croissant recipe with dry milk powder, and I honestly cannot believe I have never thought of this before, but dry milk powder, it's a pantry item. It stays good forever. I'm gonna substitute whole milk with some dry milk powder, maintain the same proportions and everything else. It's been 2 months since I've made croissants. It's crazy how fast time flies. I thought that I would be making croissants like every week. It's really time consuming, so I also like to spend my time baking other things. And I had a bunch of croissants like sitting in my freezer, so I didn't want to add to that stockpile. But there are no more croissants in my freezer. I even used all the croissant scraps making brioche, and I made these Thai tea rolls. And I'm also out of puff pastry, because I had my afternoon tea party and I was able to use all of those trimmings for that. So I'm also going to be restocking my puff pastry supply today, since I'm going to be laminating, and it's all very similar, so it's easy to do the doughs, it's easy to do the butter packets all together. And then of course the lamination, I'm going to have my dough sheeter out, so might as well do another batch of dough, why not? This is my window pane for my original recipe that uses fresh milk. Now I'm gonna do the next batch, and we'll do a little side-by-side comparison. I gotta make sure to label these because they're gonna look very, very similar. When I put it into the bowl that it's gonna do the bulk ferment in, I like to give it a few stretch and folds, a really nice round ball, because it makes it a lot easier later to score it. I do a little like X score in the middle, and then I pull the centers out to form the corners of the rectangle. And also it just looks so perfect and satisfying. My second batch of dough, it's the one that is made with milk powder. I usually mix everything except for the butter first, and then I'll let it rest for 15 minutes before I add the butter in and mix it again. The reason why I do that is because it helps with gluten formation. When you add butter really early, it inhibits some of the gluten formation, so you kind of want to give it some time to do that before you add the butter in. I mixed my fresh milk dough first, and they look very similar. I mean, I'm assuming that they will, because I'm keeping the hydration the same and everything the same. I'm actually going to a lamination masterclass next week, and there's gonna be well-known pastry chefs there, and I think one of the chefs who's gonna be there is the owner of Bread Story from New York City. I'm pretty excited for that because I have never really taken an official pastry class or croissant course before. So I think it will be interesting to see how these pastry chefs do it. And I know they're gonna be so much more technical than me because I do a lot of things by feel. I'm not like super scientific with my process. I think if I end up with a croissant that I'm proud of and that tastes good, then I'm very happy with that. This is the window pane for the milk powder. I think this looks better than the other one. It's like so much thinner, and it feels more soft and supple. I mixed it the exact same way. The last time I made puff pastry, I made 2 batches. I made a sourdough version and a non-sourdough version. And I definitely did not mix the sourdough version enough. So this time I'm actually gonna time it and make sure I don't rush it because it does need some gluten to form. This mix for exactly 5 minutes, and this definitely is not gonna give me window pane, but it is stretching a good amount without tearing, which is a good sign. Oh, there you go. It doesn't look very smooth to me, so I think I'm gonna make a call and mix it some more. I actually gave it an additional 5 minutes just to see what would happen. And the dough does look a bit stretchier than before. It's not completely smooth. It's still kind of rough. I don't feel like pushing it anymore, so we're just gonna let this rest in the fridge. It's very early right now. I know it looks like there's sun on my face, but I just set up my light. 4:44. I have some plans in the late morning around 10 a.m. so I'm worried that I'm not going to have enough time to laminate and film because I'm planning to bake the croissants tomorrow. Woke up extra early today so that I can get that all taken care of. I already have my station all set up with my tools, my dough sheeter, and I'll let you peek at the light, but you don't want to see that. I'm just waiting for my butter to come to temperature, and oh, I do need to shape my dough into a rectangle, so I'm going to do that now. And then maybe I'll make some coffee. So that first step of lamination was a little bit overwhelming. I don't know if maybe it's because it's been a long time since I've done it, or maybe I didn't do the right amount of prep for like pep talking ahead of time. Also, my temperatures were a little off. My butter was sitting out for about an hour, but it is pretty warm. It's like 75 degrees inside the house right now. My butter was on the warmer side. It was reading 65 degrees, and also my dough was reading about high 40s, like 48, 50, probably closer to 50 for the later batches of dough that I did. Also, I was being a little bit impatient because I do feel like I'm on a time crunch right now, and I didn't really like organize my workstation that well, so all of that was not very good for the first lock-in step. Although it doesn't look too bad, like the dough looks nice and strong. Even for the puff pastry, I didn't have any issues with tearing or ripping. It was just a little overwhelming when like butter starts to leak out and it gets like all sticky on the surface. I do like a little reset right now because I do need to let the doughs rest in the fridge for at least 30 minutes and maybe a little bit longer because it is on the warmer side today, so I'll probably do like 45 minutes. In the meantime, I'm gonna clean up and do a little reset, have some coffee, and walk the dogs, and then Okay, so it's time to do our second fold. I'm gonna start with the puff pastry because I did that one first, so I had that sitting out for about 10 minutes. I just took out my 2 batches of croissants, and I'm gonna let those come to room temperature while I do the next fold for my puff pastry. The sun's coming out now, so I changed my lighting setup a little bit. That overhead yellow light was kind of bothering me, and I hope that this fold goes better than the last one. I definitely don't recommend doing croissants and puff pastry at the same time. They do require different folds. I mean, the resting time and the whole general lamination process is very similar, but I found myself getting confused about what kind of folds to do. I do like a 4-3-3, so book fold and then 2 letter folds for my croissants, and I'm just doing letter folds for my puff pastry. I don't really want to experiment with that today. And then I found myself getting confused, like, wait, how many folds do I do, or which folds am I doing? Jump into another fold right after this. And then I can roll it out at the same time that I do the final roll for my croissants. Dang, my puff pastry got stuck on the rollers. I don't know if it's because I didn't flour it enough or maybe the butter was leaking out or something, but a lot of it got stuck on the roller. It's gonna be kind of annoying to clean out. I think I was rolling it too thin. I managed to save some. I have my croissants cut to the triangles. I didn't have time to shape them, but I'm gonna do them now. I also didn't have time to separate them based on which ones were the fresh milk ones and which ones were the milk powder ones. From my memory that the ones on top are the fresh milk ones. So I'm gonna try to separate them. To be honest, they look pretty much the same. Okay, I'm pretty sure these are the fresh milk ones and these are the milk powder ones. Hopefully they don't bake up too differently, so I could just say that they're the same. It's another early morning. Let me show you what's happening. Took out my croissants from the fridge. We have, oh, I didn't tell you about these. These are pastrami and Swiss croissants. I had like 2 inches of scrap dough after shaping my butter croissants, so I was like, maybe I can make something out of them. And I was looking through our fridge. We had some leftover pastrami and Swiss cheese from some sandwiches we made during the week. Why don't I just wrap it up in croissant dough? This is gonna be like pastrami Swiss, kind of like a ham and cheese thing going on. I think it's gonna be good. I'm kind of unsure how I shaped them because they were like not long enough, so I was just like stretching them so that they would fit. But I think it'll be fine, and I think it'll be really good with some sauerkraut and some mustard. These are not the only 2 trays of croissants. I also have some sitting in my proofer. Let me show you what it looks like inside. I have my 2 trays. There's a lot of water, hot water there. They look nice and moist. And then I have my temperature probe just sitting on that top tray. And the ones at the bottom usually take a little longer. It's been pretty warm here. It's supposed to be a warm day. Took like 1 pot of water to get it from 73 degrees, which is the room temperature inside the house right now, to get it to 80. I kind of do want to boost up that temperature a little bit. I do want to have these ready for breakfast. It's 5 a.m. right now and I want them to be ready, like baked by 10. It's a little ambitious. I think Right now I am gonna boil another pot of water and stick it into the oven so that I can get the temperature up higher to like 85, 86 degrees. It just changed to 81. These have been proofing for almost 5 hours now. I have my oven preheating. I kind of had to rearrange some things with my proofer. I can only fit 2 of these half sheet pans in my oven at a time. Not every single croissant spent the entire 5 hours inside of the proofer. 2.5 hours in the proofer, and then 2.5 hours at room temp. I'm gonna do a double egg wash, which is what I usually do because it gives it a much more golden brown color. Once they're done proofing, I will let them sit at room temperature for a little bit, because if they come out of the proofer at like 85, 90 degrees, they're gonna be super soft and delicate. I like to let them sit at room temperature for a little bit just to stiffen up so that my pastry brush doesn't like completely ruin the layers. Egg wash my croissants the first time while the oven is preheating. Then I will egg wash them again, and then they'll go directly into the oven. Second coat of egg wash. I'm gonna put some caraway seeds in here because pastrami and rye. I also would have used everything bagel seasoning, but I don't have any of that right now, so. It's time to try these. Fresh milk one, the milk powder ones. At first glance, these look slightly better. These look a bit flat. Well, I guess we should just cut one open. This one. Use this one. Oh, these feel a little dense. All right. Milk powder one. Well, not bad. Okay, now fresh milk ones. Oh, beautiful. Let's do a side by side. Milk powder, fresh milk. They look very similar. I would say the only thing is that these look slightly underproofed, and this one looks a lot more open. This very much may not have anything to do with the milk powder or the fresh milk. I think it could just purely be proofing time. But because they're so similar, I'm inclined to use the milk powder. I feel like this fresh milk one kind of tastes better. Slightly, like ever so slightly. So good. It's only like a freshly baked croissant. Like just 15 minutes out of the oven. All right, I gotta clean myself up. I saved my croissant trimmings from my last batch of croissants, and I want to make something out of them. You can still kind of see the lamination. I'm gonna try to separate them very carefully so I don't break them. Put all the lines going in the same direction. So I'm using this to make a tart, and I kind of want this to act like a pie crust. Finished 2 folds. Now I feel my dough getting kind of firm and starting to resist a little bit, so I'm gonna put it in the fridge to rest for half an hour or so. jelly. Here is my croissant tart. I just took it out of the freezer. Well, actually it was in the refrigerator because I don't have enough room in my freezer right now. I'm using a 9-inch cake ring, cut out about an 11-inch circle, so there's like a little bit of overhang. I didn't get to catch this on camera because I wasn't sure how this was gonna go. It kind of creates like this lip on the sides over here. I'm gonna weigh it down with some pie weights and I'm gonna bake it. Very limited recipes that I was able to see on the internet. People said to bake from frozen, to also poke holes on the bottom, do 0 fermentation, so no rising at all. Don't really want the yeast to be working here. We kind of just want the flaky layers of the croissant. Trying to transfer this here. It's a little uneven. I think one side is higher than the other. That is okay with me. A 9-inch cake ring. My tart is underneath, and then I have an 8-inch cake pan with some baking beans on top. I didn't get to bake the puff pastry last time, and I kind of messed up on the last final roll. As you saw, I baked up a little piece as a tester just to see how it is. I think it looks pretty good. You can definitely see the lamination in there, the little layers. So I'm gonna give it a try because sometimes it can look like it's laminated, but then it tastes really short. It's really light and flaky. It does taste like it's on the shorter side. Still a wonderful pastry though. I really wanted to make like a ham and cheese petivier, or like basically a ham and cheese stuffed puff pastry. I think I'm gonna do that with this one.